Energized Show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Forged Irish Stout and Our Kings Competitions. Ross,
are you intoxicated or something?
Introduce the guest, man.
Today we are bringing you the Invicta strawweight champion and soon to be UFC superstar, the one and only Danni McCormack. Danny, how are you doing?
Hey guys, happy Sunday morning.
Happy Sunday morning is right to you, Danny. Danny, obviously the big news in the last few weeks came out is you're going to be fighting on Road to the UFC over in Vegas later this month. Tell us, what was it like when you got that contract with those three letters on the paper, something that you fought for your entire career?
It was really surprising. I didn't think it was going to happen because it was going on for so long, and then the Contender Series started to get matched and my name had been in the hat for like weeks and weeks. And I thought like, oh, in the first few weeks of the Contender Series I'll get the call, and I didn't. So then every single week I got more like, oh Jesus, I don't think this is going to happen. And I heard that like a couple of hundred entries went in for the Contender Series, like a couple of hundred files, and there's only 80 fighters to come out with that. So I was like, oh my God, this is never going to happen. And I'd actually injured my ankle pretty bad, and I'd had like 7 sicknesses since January. So I was just off the phone the day before to John to say that I was getting an injection in my ankle, or had just gotten an injection in my ankle, and that I was going on a long-term antibiotic for the summer, and that I was going to take the whole summer off to get better. And then he said, that's a great idea, I'll see you in September. And next thing, during the night, that night, I woke up in the morning to a topology on my WhatsApp or a SureDog saying, do you want this fight? And I was like, what? And I couldn't believe it. Like, that's how it happens. Like, you just get a WhatsApp with someone's SureDog and do you want to fight on Road to UFC? And I just said yes straight away. And then it was like 10 days later before there was any contract or anything with the UFC letters on it. But yeah, it was just a big shock.
Yeah, like it was something that fans and media were like, geez, like, is this ever going to happen for this woman? Like, you've ticked every box possible. Like, you went to Invicta, you got to win. You went and won the belt. You went and defended the belt and got the finish there as well. We were like,
did everything.
What more can one do? You know what I mean? Like, how disheartened were you from the whole process? Like you said, you were wondering, was it ever going to happen? Like, did it ever just feel like, geez, maybe I'm not going to get this opportunity?
Oh, like loads of times. To be honest, after I won the belt last March, I was really convinced I was going to get in then. And that hit me really hard for those few months when it didn't happen. Like, the word back was no. And then when I won in October, I half expected them to say no again because they had said no in March. So, it was a whole year process of no's. And then I got released from Invicta, and I got like a little glimmer of hope in my body that, right, well, maybe it's a contractual thing, and maybe if I get released, then they'll pick me up. But then weeks went by, and it was it was soul destroying. Like, it was really, really hard. But I think the more they say no, the better you are at taking no. Like, I kind of just became a reality to me that this wasn't going to happen. Like, I know they meet every Tuesday, and that's the meeting day, say, and then Wednesday morning is when you get offers. So I heard this through the grapevine. So every Tuesday I was like, all day I was like, they're sitting in a room talking about me right now, and I was like trying to will it into existence. And then all Tuesday night, like, I'd want to check my WhatsApp, and I wouldn't let myself, because I started doing it like last March after the first title fight, and then I wasn't able to sleep Tuesday nights. So I turned off my phone every Tuesday night, and I'd wake up Wednesday morning and no message. And that was every Wednesday for a year. I knew it was going to be on a Wednesday. And then it happened. One Wednesday morning, I turned on my phone and there was a message. It was so weird. It was like exactly how I thought it was going to happen. It did happen. It just took well over a year to happen.
Did it feel like Christmas Day?
It was like, yeah, like I suppose I'd waited so long for it. I was just shocked. I was shocked. Like I wasn't really happy until I got over the shock. You know, I still like, I don't believe it. I kept saying like for those 10 days waiting for the contract, I was like, when's the contract coming? I didn't believe it. I thought they were going to pull it back from me again. But once I got the contract, then it was, since then I've been really, really happy. I'm absolutely over the moon. Like I every single pro fight to this point, it was like, don't fuck up, don't lose, don't fuck up, because you want to get into the UFC. And finally, I'm getting stand in front of the UFC, so I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Yeah, unbelievable, Danny.
Yeah, Ross. Like obviously yourself and myself, we were like, right, we'll put like posts out, seeing like who could Danny fight next, yada yada yada, all that sort of stuff, and then just not hearing Danny get a contract for anything, and then being let go from Invicta, we were sort of like, what is going on here? Because like in the background, the stuff you do for the youths of Irish MMA, part of the IMAF team, being like one of the main coaches, it was just like, what else does Danny have to do?
Yeah, I think like Danny is like one of like the poster girls, and then also on top of that, she's also one of like the leading role models in Irish MMA. Not just for girls, for everyone. Like the way you carry yourself and the amount of time and effort you put into the guys was unbelievable. And I think when you start seeing things like the Invicta flyweight champion get signed for a strawweight fight and stuff like that, I think that's what happened anyway. And then you're just like why can't this girl have a fight? Like first of all, like your fights are always like barn burners to start off with, like, you know what I mean? Like you like you know what I mean? Like I feel like the more firefighting in the fight that happens, the more you raise your game. Like it's one of those ones that you're just like, Jesus, like this woman has no quitting her whatsoever. And at the end of the day, like it's not like you're some sort of like really boring grappling fight, you know what I mean? Like I think, like, you have the people on the edge of their seats, especially when you won the title as well. Like that fight was like a fight of the year contender fight. It was absolutely insane. You know what I mean? And it's not like you don't have any personality as well. You know what I mean? When you get on the mic after your wins and all, like, it's like, you know what I mean? Those clips are like, number one, they do massive numbers on socials, which is like what the UFC are looking for. And number two, like, it's like so authentic. So like, you know what I mean?
Like, my head's going to explode if you keep going.
No, the bad stuff is coming. Don't worry, the bad stuff is coming.
But like, I feel like ever since
maybe
sort of
maybe the UFC. Maybe the UFC don't like Al.
Yeah, maybe don't like Al.
Well, okay. Well, I'll stop you there before, like, literally my head won't fit in here anymore. And I think there's a few things. Like, number one, it's so nice that everyone supports me, and I feel it from you guys, from everyone, that like he felt like bad for me, and he felt like it wasn't fair, whatever. And that I so appreciate that support from everyone. Like, Jesus, that kept me going. But the next thing, I suppose, is like, I'm a good example of it's not straightforward. And I think, people that have watched my story now, maybe they'll look at things different too. So like, it's not straightforward that you get so many wins, you get whatever undefeated finishes, whatever, that you're getting into the UFC, or you win this belt, you win the Invicta belt, you win the Cage Warriors belt. It's not straightforward, and it has to be that they're at a point where they've so many people, and like that, the fact that I heard during the summer that they've got hundreds of applicants for the Contender Series, hundreds, and they're all people like me with records all over the world. And it's it's a blessing. Like, I'm so happy I got an opportunity, and even though it is unfair from an Irish point of view, and we're looking at just me, there's probably like 100 of me. And I think people have to realize it's not straightforward to get in at all. And there's so many things up in the air, and I have my chance now, and that stuff is all behind me now. I'm just going to try and forget about it.
Yeah, and I think one final bit of solace that you can add to that, I think, is that because it was such a tumultuous road for you, and because you didn't get signed for so long, I feel like it almost helped grow your fan base, because all the time people were talking about online, being like, why isn't Danni McCormack signed? Why isn't Danni McCormack signed? And it actually got your name out there more, because people are always like, oh, well, who's the best prospect outside the UFC? And it really got your name up there. And I also felt like it helped the Irish get even more behind you, being like, why isn't, like, people wanted it more for you, and people more invested in your story because it was a harder road to get there. And now you're here, and now you're on the road to UFC. And look,
just one thing there, Gary Rooney's dad said it to me like 2 years ago or something at a Grapple Industries, or 3 years ago, I think it was, Grapple Industries competition. I like was losing this whole gi match, like I was losing the whole match, and out of nowhere, like I was stuck in this triangle forever, and then I got out of the triangle, I passed the guard, and I submitted this girl inside of like 10 seconds, and Gary Rooney's dad come over and he goes like, that match is the story of your life. And he's like, it's always hard. It's always like the hard way, and then at the end you always manage to like come through and great things happen for you. So and I never forget him saying it, and I like laugh to myself now thinking about it, because that's what happened over the last year. So I kind of like, in a way, it's who I am for some reason, but I thrive off it.
Yeah, it only makes the story even better, Danni. That's why people have to check out Danni's fight on the road to the UFC on Friday, the 23rd of August. We're obviously going to be promoting it. Make sure to check out Danni's Instagram to watch it. Danni win. Danni, you're going to be taking on Kui Hui Yan.
Great pronunciation, Baz. Look, very well done.
Look, I love my Asian food, so I know everything about Asians. Danni, can you tell us about your opponent, and what should we expect from yourself on the 23rd of August?
Right. Well, first of all, she's a tank of a woman now. Like the minute you see her, you're going to go, oh, Jesus. Because that's the first thing I did when I seen her. Like, she's built. I think she was an Olympic weightlifter or something. So she's full of muscle. And she has, as you were saying when this started, she has like a substantial record. But I think when you come from Asia, they fight so often, and they fight like a lot of people that aren't that competitive. I think you can just divide the record in half. So like she's had 30 fights, but you could really say she's had like 15 on it for European level. Yeah. So then she's strong. She hits really hard, but like fair play to her, that's great. But then the bad thing is after like 4 minutes into a fight, she falls in a hole, and she finds it very hard to get out of it then for the rest of the fight. So this is your standard Danni McCormack fight. Someone that hits really hard is going to try and knock me out. There's going to be a lot of drama in the first half of the first round. And then, we get back to our corner after round one, and it's my fight then. So, that's been the game. That's been the whole fight camp. It's, survive the storm, bring her down the strip, and finish her. And that's it. And that's the way I fight anyway. So it's a perfect fight for me. It's up a weight class. It's against someone stronger and someone that hits harder than I've ever fought before. But it really, really excites me, because I'm 10 fights in now, and I want challenges. I want to fight the best people. And this is such a fun fight for me. But it's going to be a seriously fun fight for people watching. It really is.
Danny Diaz in full swing come round 2 and 3.
Danny has the dog in her, like
you really do. Danny, when I was looking at her record, I was like you said, like partially padded, like, you know what I mean? Like, she was 23 fights into her career, and she fought someone who never had a pro fight before, you know what I mean? With a record of 20 and 3, and she was fighting someone who was 0-0. But like, that's not to say she's not legitimate as well. Like, she has wins over people who are, 7-1, 12-3. You know what I mean? Like, she obviously has some legit wins in there as well. So like, I think her record, when you get a win over, like, that will also look great on your record as well. You know what I mean? It will put you right in the mix there. Obviously, Danny, you've made no qualms about it. You, with a win here, like, obviously you're looking to get signed to the UFC, but you want to get right in the mix with those UFC gals. You want to be, putting your name in there with some of the best fighters in the division and getting there. I think I've heard you say before, you know what I mean? You don't have 10 years left in the game, you know what I mean? So like, you you want to mix it in there straight away. So do you feel like you need to put on the statement performance here and then make yourself like known that you want to get in there with the best in the world?
Yeah, like if I was on the Contender Series, I'd be fighting a girl with less than 10 fights. You know, probably a girl with 5-6 fights, 5-6-0, something like that. So I understand if I was on the Contender Series and I was fighting someone with that record and I won and got into the UFC, then I'm fighting other girls that won on the Contender Series and we're at the bottom of the pack. But I'm not. I'm fighting up a weight division. I'm fighting someone with 3 times more fights than me. I've been given like the ultimate Contender Series fight, like the hardest possible route. So if I beat a flyweight and someone that's had that many more fights than me and someone that's called Queen Kong, you know, I beat King Kong, then come on, like let's just overtake all the way to the top 15, give me top 15 straight away. I'll have proven myself above and beyond anyone to get into the UFC, and I'll be moving back down to strawweight. They did say that they would let me move back to strawweight if I win this fight and I finish, you know, and they want to take me, then it will be at strawweight. So I'm going to take them on their word at that. But I'm 24. I'm 34.
What?
24 in my head. I'm 34. I want to get going. So yeah, if it all works out, I am going to be calling top 15. Like I don't have time to be fighting the other 33 girls or whatever it is in the strawweight division at the moment.
And tell us this, Danny. Obviously, you know, you probably want to. The obvious answer is you want to fight for a belt. But is there someone who you see in the UFC right now who you really want to fight? That you're like, oh, I've always wanted to fight them.
Oh, like 100% Yang Weili or Weili Yang, whatever way you say it. Like, Jesus, you know, I want to fight people that, like, it scares me to think about fighting. Like, you know, she's so powerful. She hits so hard. Her grappling's so good. Like, Jesus, she's a really hard matchup for me. Like, you know, I can't just grab her and ragdoll her around the place like I do pretty much everyone. So, you know, she's a way better version than this girl that I'm fighting. But this girl that I'm fighting is kind of the same style, but Weili Yang is just better. So, yeah, like, I would love more than anything to stand across from her and to beat her. But, yeah, that's the person that excites me the most. Like, I can't take my eyes off her.
Yeah, she is phenomenal. Like, I think her fight with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, absolutely legendary. That was probably the greatest women's MMA fight of all time. But again, we haven't had Danny in there with it yet, so that can all change. That can all change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Danny, tell us this: when you know, when August, you know, maybe 21st rolls around, you're over in Vegas, and you know, you arrive at the Fighter Hotel or whatever, the Apex arena, and then they put on those UFC gloves for the first time to try them on, and it's official and it's all happening. Have you thought about that moment? You've probably thought about your entire career, but have you come to the realization that that's coming true?
Like, it's pretty similar to the strawweight championship. Like, when I initially got offered the fight, I thought those things like, oh, it'll be so cool. I watch this all the time. Like, I watch all the Contender Series fights. I watch the Apex all the time. I watch Road to UFC even. I've watched this season, like when it was away in Asia. So, you know, it gives me like butterflies thinking, because I'm such a massive fan. Like, first and foremost, I'm a huge fan. But then very quickly, like, I move away from that because it's not helpful. So it was the same with the title. You know, John and Alan get carried away and my brother, and they're like, oh my God, if you become the Invicta World Champion and you'll be the first ever Irish person, like they really get into it. But that stuff doesn't really help me. So it's just another fight. And I don't let that stuff get into my head, because making the walk and being on Road to UFC and all that, you know, that's not what I'm in it for. I'm here because I want to win, and I really, really want to beat this girl. So I'm going to try hard not to think about it. And I've been to the PI, I've been over there in Vegas. Like, I don't think I'm going to get overwhelmed by any of it. I've been around that atmosphere before over there.
So just Alan will be overwhelmed and he'll be living all his UFC gear.
That was then Slade in the show, like, jeez.
He's trying not to care about the gear, and he's like, do you think they'll give us a full tracksuit? And I was like, what do you think it'll say? Will it say Road to UFC? Will it say UFC? Will it say anything?
Say McCormack?
I was like, we might get yeah, will it say Alan McCormack?
Yeah, what does it say, Alan McCormack? The gloves say Alan McCormack.
And he's like, what size of the runners you ordered? Did you order the right size? You know, he's in on the tracksuit at the moment. He likes it. The idea. If they don't give us a tracksuit, he's going to be for age.
We'll get a GoFundMe to get one for him if you don't get it.
Yeah.
A GoFundMe for a new suitcase for Al to bring home.
They will have to rob one or something if there isn't any.
Yeah.
Danny, like, I was just looking at the UFC Fight Pass app there. It doesn't actually say it's on there. Maybe they haven't like uploaded something for it. But is it going to be live on UFC Fight Pass?
Yeah, it's live on UFC Fight Pass. So people will have to subscribe even for just a month to watch the fight. It'll be on early, I'd say, as well. So like, it's usually daytime cards. These Contender Series and Road to UFC are. I don't know for sure, but I think it will be early enough that you could watch it in Ireland.
Yeah, as it gets closer, we'll let the people know, Danny, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And many night have been sitting there, what's called it, in bed, partner sleep beside me, watching a Danni McCormack fighting on Invicta winning the world title.
Jumping up and down the bed, jumping up and down the bunk bed.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope you were like crying and jumping up and down.
Yeah, I was waking her up and go, she did it. And she was like, who did what? I go, you don't understand.
I'd kick you out of the bedroom if I was her now. I'd run you into the other room.
She probably did, no. She was like, get downstairs if you're watching that.
Dead right.
Danny, who's actually going to be in your corner for this one as well?
John and Alan.
Lovely.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, the dream team. It's been them two for the last number of fights. So they get on well together, and they connive, I think, behind my back. So the two of them get on pretty well.
I hope Alan's not asking John for SBG tracksuits in the meantime, is he?
No, if they don't give us anything, he's definitely going to wear the Relentless t-shirt. Like, guarantee, he'll be like, "Fuck this crew with no tracksuit. I'm wearing my Relentless t-shirt."
And Danny, just before we let you go, like, some people might be tuning in now and they're not really aware of the story you have from when you first met John Kavanagh. Can you tell us? Can you tell the people just tuning in now, just before we wrap things up?
Yeah, like John was just saying it a few weeks ago, that it's like full circle now. So when Conor fought Chad Mendes, I went to that fight with my brother, and the next day we went to the pool party where, like, there was rumors that's where Conor was going to be, and he showed up, and John, and I queued up for like photos, and I met John, and I said, I do MMA and I'm going to be a fighter, and I'll be a fighter in your gym. And he like said, oh, best of luck and good luck with that and keep going. And, he was nice, but like, he definitely thought I was full of shit. And I was after like drinking most of the day, waiting for them to arrive. So I probably, wasn't sober either. But we got a picture, and he never remembered me. But my brother said it to him when we were in Bahrain the night before the World Championships then. And he said, look, this picture. He showed John, and he said, do you know, this is what you said to her in Vegas. And he couldn't believe it. He said, I'm the first person ever from Drunk Night that came up to him and said, I'm going to be a fighter. And they actually did. So it's cool now. We're back, going back to Vegas. Like, it's nearly 10 years. It is 10 years since I met John. Sorry, it's not. So I'm 10 years doing martial arts in January, and I'm 9 years in SBG in January, say. So yeah, it's nearly 10 years for the full circle. So it's definitely cool.
Back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
Like, what a story. Like,
Ross, you told John
one
that as well,
one
didn't you?
iconic event as well, like UFC 189, Sinead O'Connor singing out Conor McGregor, like the only time I think we've ever had.
I remember like driving down into Vegas and seeing Conor on billboards and being like, oh my God, like, this Irish person is like so famous. Like, I didn't really know how big he was. Like, I hadn't a clue. And I was only after starting MMA or like martial arts in January, and then that was like the summertime, so I couldn't believe it. And then when we were in the arena and the whole fucking place lit up like tricolors, like, I was literally like in tears going, I can't believe this is a thing and I want to be this thing. This is so cool. It like motivated the crap out of me. It was really inspirational.
Well, that was like one of the most promoted fights of all time, because obviously it was supposed to be McGregor versus Aldo. So like they done the whole world tour. They did that really cool promo where they walk down the strip and like they come face to face, and like that fight couldn't have been any bigger. Like all eyes were on that fight, and like what a fight it was as well. And then also you had that was the same night you had Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald, which, like one of the greatest fights of all time. So like that is like one of the best cards of all time. And that's where Danni McCormack of SBG evolved.
That was my first MMA fight to go to ever. I hadn't been to a regional MMA fight. That was my first ever event. So I was only going to be let down after that.
Yeah. But what's called, that's when Conor won the real belt. Don't tell him it was the interim. He doesn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it definitely felt like it was the real one, I tell you. It was just spectacular. It was amazing. So yeah, it's
and just on that, Danni, obviously Conor's been a massive supporter of yours. Like anytime you fight, you know, he gives you a massive shout out. Sometimes he still calls you Danny Nealon, though. He needs to be fact checked on that now. But have you heard from Conor since you've got the Road to UFC contract?
No, I haven't heard from him personally. He wasn't in the gym in the last few weeks with the injury, but he just like commented on my post and stuff, and he knows what's happening. So I'm pretty sure they're sponsoring me for this fight too. So Conor's been saying it to me since I won the belt for Invicta. He's like, your time will come. It will come. He's like, just believe it's going to come. And he never let me like lose faith in that. Like he kept encouraging me, just keep going. Like, even though it's hard when it's not happening for you. After girls would fight on the weekend, he'd like say to me on Monday, how would you get on with those girls at the weekend? I was like, I'd smash them. And he's like, yeah, you would. So like he's always like, encouraging me to keep going.
Sure, Amanda Nunes be in that cage, and you'd ask Danni McCormack, how'd you get on with him? And I'd smash her over.
Yeah, well, like, you're not going to say anything other to Conor, are you? Like, you got to keep it up.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, make sure to check out Danni McCormack's when she's back in action on the Road to UFC Season 3 in Vegas on August 23rd, live on UFC Fight Pass. Danni, is there anything you want to say to the millions and millions of Danni McCormack fans tuning in right now?
Thank you. I've heard everyone over the last 12 months that have been supporting me and trying to get me to this point. So thank you so much. And I really hope you enjoyed the journey the next few weeks and the fight. We got here, we got it done. So make sure you tune in and watch, and I'm going to give it my absolute everything. I really, really believe I can win the fight. And finally is the kids out in Abu Dhabi. So unfortunately I couldn't go to Abu Dhabi because we're flying out the end of next week, is it? Maybe we're flying out pretty soon to Vegas. So I couldn't go to Abu Dhabi, but I've been working with the kids for the last 12 months, and they are, higher level than they've ever been. They're amazing. The competition's tougher than ever in Abu Dhabi this year. There's more teams than ever. There's huge numbers of athletes, but I'm so confident how good they're going to do and how many medals they're going to bring home. I'll be watching, and anyone that's watching this, you should switch on IMAF TV and watch a few of the Irish kids in action this week. You'll be highly surprised at what their level is, even at the age they're at. You'll be shocked at how good they are. So I can't wait for that.
Lovely.
Yeah, we have a Basmo.
Yeah, best of skill team Ireland over in Abu Dhabi as well.
Yeah. Yup, Oima, yup, Danni McCormack, and yup, Relentless Martial Arts.
Yeah.
Danni, thanks a million for your time, and we'll let you get on with the rest of your day, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Energized Show, up the Irish.
So Ross, that was Danni McCormack.
Yeah, just legend. Like she always brings great energy and fairness to her. I think you can't say enough. Not only do we say she does incredible stuff for the IMAF teams here, but all the other coaches across the country will also say she does incredible work for IMA as well. So fair play to her. She puts her heart and soul into it. And look, the results are massively improving with her efforts. So fair play to her.
How come you're never that complimentary about me when we have guests on the show, bud?
Man, you just give out to them for 10 minutes before we start recording, but like it's for the benefit of the show, so don't worry about it.
Jesus, you're letting people know the behind the scenes stuff, Ross.
How the sausage is made.
How the sausage is made. But look, obviously in the build up to Danny's fight, we will be promoting it, and August 23rd can't come quick enough. If you are new to the show, make sure to like and subscribe because we're here every week, aren't we, Ross?
We are, baby, every single week.
We were just discussing there. The UFC was over in Abu Dhabi. So last night, Umar and Nurmagomedov defeated Corey Sandhagen. Ross, how dangerous can Umar and Nurmagomedov be in this bantamweight division?
Look, I think he's a problem for a lot of people. If I'm brutally honest, I think at the end of the day, his wrestling pedigree and like he's actually quite good on the feet as well. A lot of people won't know he actually started on the feet first, which is like unheard of for a Dagestani fighter. And then like he developed his wrestling after the fact. So look, I think does he have the potential to go the whole way? Absolutely. Like he is definitely one of the elite. Like he just beat Corey Sandhagen. I think it was a 50-45 across the board, like not far off. So like you have to give him his flowers, as they say. Let it be known he's one of the best in the division. It'll be interesting to see where he was ranked 10 going into that.
Yeah, I think Sandhagen was 3.
And Sandhagen was 2 going into it.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, I suppose 3 if you include the champion.
Yeah, but you know what? Like when the fights get announced, they're both like whatever numbers, and then as the fight gets closer and closer, they always go up the rankings.
They skewed up the rankings. Look, Umar Nurmagomedov, I actually think he should fight Devson Figueiredo next. Devson Figueiredo picked up a win over Marlon Vera. Figueiredo was 6 going into the fight. He beat number 4. So I think realistically they'll sort of all fall in around the same ranks. But I think like that makes sense, obviously, from a scheduling point of view. But also, like, I think I'd love to see Henry Cejudo versus Umar Nurmagomedov, because I'd love to see him without a grappling advantage and see how he fares.
What about, it was also announced last week that Sean O'Malley's taking on Merab Dvalishvili for the title at UFC Noche, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The UFC 306, it's still UFC Noche. But...
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, who do you think Umar would beat Merab and Sean O'Malley at this stage?
I think Merab would be a favorite against him.
And then who do you think's the favorite between Sean O'Malley and Merab?
I think Merab will be the favorite coming into the fight.
And who do you think will win that fight?
I think Merab will win.
Come on, man. I thought you were like
Irish
sugar show. You're going against the Irish again, man. Jesus. Also last night Shara Putin Magomedov, he defeated Mikhail. I can't say that second name. And Tony Ferguson lost again to Michael Chiesa. Tony Ferguson, he says he's going to come back again. He's going to go back to the drawing board. He's going to spar Colin Walsh a bit more and then come back with a win next time. Do you believe him, yes or no?
No, I think he's done. Like, what's that, 8 on the bounce he's lost? And it wasn't competitive, so, like, I think Tony should just hang him up. Legend of the game. He's 40 now as well. Also,
Mackenzie Dern won by decision. Ross, she defeated Lupi Godinez. When Mackenzie Dern fights, she goes absolutely viral, especially fight week.
Yeah, she does. She's obviously got a massive fan base. She's I think it's because she can also speak Portuguese and English that like she transcends across like various countries. I think Gary's trying to get some of that love with his Portuguese. But look, good win for Mackenzie Dern. I feel like she's constantly in that sort of state where she's like not really beating the top 3 or 4 girls, but like she beats everyone else below them. So it'll be interesting to see if she can break down that barrier. But obviously she was a phenom in jiu-jitsu before being signed to the UFC. So yeah, she's definitely one to watch, and she's one that someone like Danni McCormack will have her eye on in the future.
That'd be very interesting. Joy Herbert from Team Renegade won as well. And then Jordan Vucenic made his UFC debut against Guram Kutateladze and was defeated by decision. Now, just before we move on, Ross, this is the last fight we're going to talk about this fight. Yeah. Going into the fight, I actually thought Guram was going to be favourite. Obviously, Jordan took a short notice fight. He also had fought in Cage Warriors in London the week before. Then he moved up a weight division to lightweight. From what I saw, Jordan won the first round.
Yeah,
then Guram won the second round.
Yeah.
And then Guram won the third round. It was mentioned after the second round, his corner were like, Jordan, you're 2 rounds up. What did you make of the fight overall, Ross?
Yeah, I thought Jordan gave a very good account of himself on short notice. I thought I thought he looked at home in there. I don't think the occasion got to him. I disagree with his corner saying he was 2 rounds up, and I just think when it's that tight, you shouldn't tell him, because they actually told him to sort of coast the third round effectively. I just thought that was bad corner advice. Now, look, I'm not trying to be too critical of his team. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it was his first time in the UFC. I'm sure there was nerves and stuff like that, and I'm sure sometimes I think they were willing him to be winning, if that makes sense, as opposed to what actually wins the fight. So I think, Vucenic probably got bad advice in between his round 2 and 3, and then probably didn't leave it all out there on the line as much in round 3 as you'd like to see.
Can I just jump in there? Shouldn't they almost should have been better off being like, look, you need to go out and win this round to win the
Absolutely.
fight. Is that not better?
Yeah, much better.
But look, first time around. Look, he's. I was thinking about it when I was watching the fight as well. I was like, geez, like when we were watching Cage Wars, the way Jordan was fighting Paul Hughes, like you're watching like UFC level fights here. Like there were so many stars, like even the undercards with your Ken Lockerans, even James Sheens were there. Is like the Ian Garys, like the list continues with all the next gen lads, Paddy's, like Cage Wars, like what a show it was. But little do we know that these lads were all going to go on and become like big faces as well. Like Jordan was getting pushed, like all the tattoos he has, he is a pure star.
Yeah, he is, and he has this iconic walkout. Like he's a lovely guy as well. Like he really, really is. A lot of time for him.
Yeah, absolutely hates us though. But who doesn't? Ross, massive fight announced over the weekend as well. Ilia Topuria, the champion of the featherweight division, is going to be taking on Max Holloway at UFC 308. Ross, what should you make of this scrap? Because people were hoping to have this in Spain.
Yeah, like I think the idea of UFC bringing a pay-per-view to a brand new market in Europe, I think, isn't going to happen. Like, if you look at the way they do London or Manchester, they've been to the UK plenty of times. They know they can sell out a fight night. I think you have to do a fight night first before you do a pay-per-view, regardless of who it is. Do I think...
Sorry, is that in Spain?
Yeah, in Spain. You need to do a fight night in Spain first before. I'm just using the UK as an example because it's a consistent market they return to. Like, they need to do a fight night in Spain. Like, obviously, Alvarez got a great win there last night as well. Like, he's a Spanish fighter, so they do have a few on the roster. Do I think if they went to the Bernabeu with Topuria, would they sell it out? Absolutely, they'd sell it out. But I don't think they're going to take that risk to start with. I think, again, like you see with So with Manchester, like, would they be fighting at 5 o'clock in the morning? Because that's just painful.
No, that needs to end.
Yeah,
honestly, no. That
yeah, like I don't understand why they can't just go right. The main event's at 2 a.m. If you know what I mean, and like people would be like, that's fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like people would be accepting that. I don't know why they have to make it. There's zero compromise on the American side of the time. So that was annoying. But look, the actual fight itself, Topuria versus Holloway. 10 out of 10. Like one of my top 3 fights I'm most excited for this year.
Yeah, do you know what? I can't help but think that if Paddy the Baddy was headlining that pay-per-view in Manchester, that they would have had the fight on earlier. I don't think they'd make Paddy the Baddy fight at 5 a.m. in Manchester. Like, say if it was in Anfield.
I don't know. Like I feel like it didn't matter who was headlining there. That's the time of the fight they were going to do.
Well, let's agree to disagree, as always. But also on the card, Robert Whittaker is going to be taking on Chimaev.
Or really?
Oh, sorry. Let's go back. Sorry. Topuria Holloway. Who do you fancy for that
one? To be the best, you got to beat the best. And the best is blessed, baby.
You're right, man. Ilia Topuria to win. Robert Whittaker against Chimaev, but...
Yeah, this is like the 5th time it's booked. Like I'm not buying this fight goes down until the two of them stand across from the cage from each other.
It's at middleweight though.
Doesn't matter.
We have to go Robert Whittaker. More chance of Robert Whittaker making it there than Chimaev.
Yeah,
But
Robert Whittaker will beat whoever he's fighting that night.
It is in Abu Dhabi though. Like Chimaev needs to just sort of shit out and get in there more often.
Also, I semi wonder, will Robert Whittaker be the backup for Izzy versus Dricus as well?
Yeah, that's actually going down UFC 305 on the 17th of August. Ross also announced Cyril Gane is taking on Volkov for the second time, and Ankalaev is taking on Rakic as well. Like that card it says hashtag UFC 308 is stacked, and I'd 100% agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Also interesting to see Ankalaev is fighting Rakic next. A lot of people would have thought it would have been him versus Pereira next. So maybe that means that the backup plan for UFC 309, when Jones and Stipe don't fight again, will be Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira.
I still can't see that happening. Dana got very upset about those questions. Yeah.
Well, when it's 2 weeks notice and they have to like make a new fight, find me two lads who are more willing to step in on short notice than those two.
Okay, yeah. Look, Ross, I'm not going to disagree with you because we all know what happens behind the scenes. You give out to me, and then I start crying. But this weekend, Ross, the battle of the big dogs. Marcin Tybura is taking on Sergey Spivak in the main event at UFC in the Apex, your favorite arena.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go for Tybura on this one. I feel like me and him have the same bods, so like that's like no better reason to go for anyone there.
Yeah, but you have the same personality as Sergey Spivak.
No, man, same hair.
That's the same nickname as well. But let me look at this card for a second. Yeah. Yeah, well, luckily enough, we'll be out for my birthday that night, Ross, so we won't miss too much. Ross, BKFC was on over the weekend as well. Conor McGregor went into the what is it? It's not an octagon.
BKFC ring?
Is it a ring?
Yeah.
It's not four corners.
Yeah, but a ring doesn't have to be four corners. It has ropes.
It is a bit of an octagon, though, isn't it? Or is it 6 sides, is it?
I think it's more of a circle type thing.
Squared circle, let's say. Can you believe when he went in and downed a can of Forged Irish Stout, the smoothest, creamiest stout in the game, that they put up in writing Conor McGregor and spelled his name wrong? One of the biggest names, one of the owners of the company, they spelled his name wrong. Can you believe that?
Sloppy. That's why you need people like me and Basmo on the board of directors there to make sure that that things like that don't happen again. You know what I mean? They need to sign us in. You know what I mean? Double N for Conor, like.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Unbelievable, man. Very American. That's an American Conor.
Yeah.
BKFC 64 goes down in Coventry this weekend if you're up for a few scraps, as always. Ross, huge news came out in Irish MMA this week. Cage Legacy is going on a hiatus. Decky Kenna is shutting up shop for the meantime. They actually had another event lined up later on this year. That's obviously not going to be going down. It was booked in for October 26th, Cage Legacy. Ross, what you make of this news now, and what does it make for the Irish MMA scene?
Yeah, well, look, it can be hard sometimes to comment on some of these things because you don't probably see all the hidden costs to run an event. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you have to pay the refs, you have to pay the commentary team, you have to pay the people who set up the cage, you have to pay the venue. You know what I mean? You have to pay the
pro fighters.
You have to pay the pro fighters. You know what I mean? And like a lot of the time, sometimes you're paying the opponents to come in more money than them to keep the home talent on the card. So like, there's a lot of costs that go into an event. And again, like in terms of revenue coming in, like you're probably looking at ticket sales and then sponsors, and that's probably streams. So like, and obviously you have to pay for the stream as well. So like, you wonder how many people buy the stream, and does that cover the cost of having the stream? And I feel like it's something that you can't not have either. Like you have to have that because you need all the fights to be recorded. Now I know there's been issues with the stream, so like that's obviously not great. But like maybe they when there is issues with the stream, like they need to ask for some of the money back from the people who are doing the stream because they're not doing their job at the level they should be providing. So,
but also Decky was bringing the events over to Liverpool. He was saying they were meant to go to Spain. He was saying Cage Legacy Brazil at one stage as well.
Amsterdam, I think.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, so like they were all over the place with announcing events. I've always thought what they say they're going to do at the start of the year is never what ends up happening. That's not a knock on them. It's too ambitious. Like, I think saying they were going to Liverpool and doing Liverpool was great. Like, if they did 2 UK shows a year, I think that would be very, very impressive. But like, also like seeing things like having that guy Be Real come over, like I don't know who he is. Maybe that means I'm not cool. But like,
no, man, you're definitely cool with them glasses, man. Definitely.
Obviously he was paid to come over. I thought that was like, there was no need for that. I don't think having Be Real perform halftime show, the Super Bowl type thing, I don't think that actually led to any more ticket sales. So at the end of the day, I think like there's obviously costs that they can cut along the way. But look, it is what it is. Like, hopefully it won't be too long of a hiatus. But we'll just have to see what happens, because Cage Legacy is probably the biggest show that we have in the south of the border.
Yeah, well, you wonder now what some of the fighters are going to do. I just saw Conor McCarthy was announced to fight in FCC. I know Armand Herzig and Composed MMA. Trev McCongo is fighting in that. So maybe they're going to take some. Maybe they're going to take some of the talent. Cage Conflict, like that show could become bigger and bigger. And,
absolutely.
I know Akuma are doing a big show now in a couple of weeks as well. So the talent's going to have to fight somewhere. But I'll ask you this: where do you see Max Lally going next?
I wouldn't be surprised he fought on Cage Conflict. I wouldn't be surprised he fought on FCC next. I think the issue with Max Lally is him finding a suitable opponent next time out, someone who is a step up in competition. And obviously, through no fault of his own, I thought Machado was a good opponent. I think he was 3-5, but obviously that means he had 8 fight pro experience, and obviously he'd fought on Cage Warriors, so like it was definitely a step up. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him actually fight maybe on a Cage Warriors. I know Graham Boylan said he's open to having SBG fighters fight on the card. Obviously, it'd probably be easier if it was not an SBG Ireland to start off with, how like he was it would be the likes of Queely or Roddy, and especially considering Roddy fought on Cage Warriors before, so therefore, like, why not extend the olive branch, get Max Lally a fight in Cage Warriors, him the yellow gloves would be something else. Same with Conor McCarthy. I'd love to see the pair of them in the yellow gloves.
Well, I may as well move directly into the Energized questions. I want to thank everyone for sending the questions in. This could be potentially our favorite segment of the show, Ross. Bar when we slag each other, I think this is like up there. Like, this is in the Champions League.
Absolutely.
Ross, you just mentioned Cage Warriors. So a question from DH Newman, who always loves to throw in a few curveballs. Next weekly question. Next SBG prospect is signed with Cage Warriors.
I'd love to see Conor McCarthy with the yellow gloves. I think there's just something about him fighting for Cage Warriors that will be pretty epic.
You see, the thing is with Cage Warriors, the way they haven't announced another show in Ireland this year, very disappointing to see.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I think it's how expensive it is to put on a show in Ireland.
No, I agree. But if you have the likes of the SBG fighters, like your Max Lallies, your Conor McCarthy's, these lads are ticket sellers. So
absolutely.
Therefore, these lads are going to cover the costs. So you mentioned Conor McCarthy. I like your Max Lallies. There's not many people like Max. I would say has a bigger audience than Conor, and that's like, I mean, that's just the way it is at the moment. But they're both big audiences.
Yeah.
But someone like Max Lally, if he signs with a Cage Warriors, like, the shit will absolutely blow up. Look at your Jerry Harris, is the way he's like taking over a bit. I think Max Lally could be in the same ballpark there. So I'd say Max Lally would be someone I'd really like to see there. DH Newman also asks Lee Hammond next fight and opponent. I think you discussed this last week.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, he's fighting in Madrid. Haven't heard the opponent. I'm going to guess when I hear the opponent, I won't have heard of him before. I think he could be fighting on like an FCC or something like that. So look out for it. I'm sure it's going to be announced in the coming days. He's obviously signed a contract, but Lee likes to keep his cards close to his chest, so I'm sure he'll let us know in his own time.
Yeah, Then we got a message from Michael Shields asking, which All-Irish amateur matchup would you like to see? And which All-Irish pro fight would you like to see?
Well, I actually think we're going to get one of them soon. And I think it's Kuma. I think Damien McGuigan's going to fight Keane McCartan. Keane just beat Ben Manton of SBG Charlestown. And obviously, Damien McGuigan recently had a win over Shay Cleland. And I think therefore the best flyweights in the country. And I think seeing Damien fight against Keane McCartan is going to be absolutely incredible. So I think the winner of that can sort of say I'm number one flyweight in the country.
Also, if Damien McGuigan wins that, he'll be straight out calling Nate the Great out again.
Yeah, exactly. And I think look, very, very high level. But I think any of those flyweights can beat each other on any given day. Keane McCartan got the nod over Ben Manton, but Ben Manton looked great in that. Ben Manton he's a bit younger in his career.
Yeah, definitely.
Than Keane is. He looks sensational. But obviously there's other ones Kieran Coogan and stuff like that who are also in that flyweight division who look sensational. Like I said with Shay Cleland, he's also up there. So I think the flyweights at the moment are really at the upper echelon of talent. I feel like they could compete with anyone in the world on the amateur scene. So they're my ones that I definitely enjoy watching. And then at pro's a bit of a funny one because you see certain people and you'd love to see them get matched against each other, but then you also don't want to see them. Obviously, Owen McDonald's going to fight Jordan Bradshaw on Akuma. I saw Shane Mullen's going to fight Carl McConway on Ure. So there's two fights that all four men are making their pro debut on. But again, I'd love to see a Paul Hughes versus Peter Queally in PFL in terms of a domestic showdown, or maybe some, if you're looking for something maybe a bit earlier in their career, maybe trying to think of someone who sort of not signed to a big promotion. Is there any welterweights out there that Andreas Binder could fight? Oh, maybe Andreas Binder versus Eamon Dean. There we go. That'd be a fight to watch.
Jesus, yeah. They should get that. That should actually get on. They should try and get that on Akuma or Cage conflict.
What, Binder versus Eamon Dean?
Yeah,
I think that's PFL level. I think it's trouble straight on
PFL.
PFL.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So,
but yeah, no. You see, the thing is, I don't want to get too far into this. Maybe for a different show. But
sorry, nose run like a tap here. So apologies for blowing it.
Because a lot of the time we're we don't want to see the Irish fight each other, but the thing is, when the Irish fight each other, people give they care so much.
Let's just call it spade.
Yeah, and they're so invested, and it makes us doing the shows even more interesting, rather than one of the fighters who we really like, and they're fighting someone that you will never heard of, and once the fight's over, you won't even remember the name, and people want to know this Jordan Bradshaw fight against Owen McDonald. This is going to be a quality fight. You know what I mean? CMAC versus FAI. That is quality matchmaking. I don't even know how they even came up with that idea, but can't wait to see that. That's what makes the scene great. The way you just mentioned Aquidi versus Paul Hughes, that'd be quality to watch as well. So it's more as much as you don't want the Irish to fight each other, the way if they do, it's great for both of them, because then people are really, really invested. Because there's no point of going and making your pro debut somewhere obscure and then losing, because then it's you don't even know who they lost to, and then all of a sudden people don't think you're actually as good as you are. So I mean,
yeah, there's no point fighting in pro debut and Brave and Bratislava. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then losing.
It's not a knock on Brave. It's just
no, it's not.
It's having on a Bratislava card and you're the only Irish on the card type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shout out Bratislava. Well, so we have a massive audience in Bratislava. But Ross, last question. Sent in by Conor McGregor. Only messing. He asking, who are name 5 Irish MMA fighters that could do BKFC? Last question.
5 that could do BKFC. Trying to think of who are some of the warriors. I think Peter Queally could do a BKFC. I think I'd like to see Kiefer do a BKFC. I think he'd be pretty whopper at it.
Yeah.
Even though we've had the conversation with him before, and I don't think he would, but I think Reece McKee would actually be class in BKFC. I'm sort of just thinking of people I enjoy watch.
Charlie
boxing.
Ward.
Charlie Ward will be like exceptional BKFC talent. And let me think of one more.
Sinead
Maybe
Kavanagh?
like I wasn't actually thinking of her, but she will be great for maybe someone like a Colin McClurkin or something like that up in FAI. I think is someone who could do it. I also think, but like it won't happen anytime soon. But like Paddy McCarry or something would be great at a BKFC.
And then okay, here we go. Just another one, right?
Here's another question.
Oh.
After the last question, bonus question.
Just the interim question. What coach, MMA coach, do you think would be the best to BKFC?
I'm just going to say Owen Roddy just because he's known for his striking.
I'm going to say Danni McCormack because she was on the show, but
fair.
Danni
McCormack would be lethal at BKFC.
Someone call Danny and tell her to get off the road to UFC and go straight to BKFC.
Yeah, let her bang, bro.
Let her bang, bro. She has that dog in her. Let the big dogs eat, Ross. Let the big dogs eat.
You better believe it.
Ross, what a show, man, on the bank holiday Sunday.
You better believe it. You better
Sunniest day of the
believe
year out there, like above all that rain.
Yeah. When it's not raining, the sun is shining. But guys, thanks again for everyone who has been watching. It's been I thought it was a fun episode. Hope you did too.
It was. Yeah, I think sometimes we have to rush them, and then like today we didn't really. So it was actually it was nice. Danny,
it was nice and chill.
It was nice and chill. This is what the crack's all about. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Everyone who likes and subscribes and tells people and interacts with the questions of the week and just comes on and have a laugh because we love doing this and we love the way you enjoy it because without you there is no Energized. Although we'd probably just do the shows and no one would listen. But Ross, anything else to say before we wrap things up?
No, man, you just stole my bit, like, you know what I mean? You stole my outro.
Do you want to give me a shout out for a birthday this week?
Yeah, shout out to Baz. It'll be his birthday on the 11th of August.
This day next week.
This day next week. Next Sunday, make sure to wish him the happiest of all birthdays. And as always,
happy 18th birthday.
Stay energized.
Energized Show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you've done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.